cemetery
Uh-huh.
twice a day. Has anything new happened out there lately?
The last thing that I have information on is January the 11th, the incident I mentioned earlier with the cab driver.
I missed that.
Nothing more recent than that. That was a incident that was written up by Bill Geist, who, incidentally, Eddie, his name in German means ghost.
Hey.
A great name for a columnist who'd write such a story. But Bill Geist got in touch with me after a cab driver approached him who had an incident which he believed was with Resurrection Mary. And this is a girl that he had picked up on Archer Avenue near Old Willow Shopping Center there, just to the north of the Willowbrook Ballroom. And it's a girl who remained quiet in the back seat of the car until suddenly blurting out, "This is the place." And where she said that was just across from the cemetery gates. The fella turned around and looked in the back seat of the cab, and the girl who was sitting back there had vanished. He was not charging her a fare, luckily, or he would have been stiffed. He had dropped off a fare in the Palos area, was coming back down Archer, had dropped a fare off he had picked up at O'Hare Airport, wasn't familiar with the area, and picked up this girl. And January the 11th, if you remember, Eddie, was just a few days before that massive snowstorm.
Yeah, that was the 13th that it started.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he did find this girl who was dressed unseasonably at the time without a coat or anything, but was in a white dress just standing there at the side of the road. And he thought he'd give her a lift and have someone to talk to and someone to keep him company as he headed back towards the city.
There is no pattern to her, is there? She just appears.
Well, the pattern basically centers usually around Archer Avenue. It's either around the cemetery on Archer, or one direction or the other past the cemetery along Archer. There's usually some Archer connection, which always is either along Archer or it gets to Archer very quickly.
Sounds like Archer is a fairly haunted road.
Yeah, it's quite a historic road, an interesting road dating back to the Illinois-Michigan Canal days when the Irish immigrants who dug the Illinois-Michigan Canal from Chicago down to the Illinois River at LaSalle and Ottawa, they laid out Archer Avenue in 1836 to bring the supplies out that way. And it was laid out over a pre-existing Indian trail. And some people think it's because Colonel Archer, who it's named after, owned some property in Lockport. It enhanced the value. We won't get into that little scandal of those bygone days.
Ooh.
But it certainly is a not only interesting historically, but interesting hauntedly road. As we've mentioned, the Resurrection Mary stories or other things along Archer as well. And I'd like to invite anybody with Archer tales to get in touch with me, because Archer is probably my favorite haunted road around Chicago.
Okay.
All right, Bill, thank you.
You have a very interesting show tonight, Eddie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah,
And I shall send you that letter.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I agree. Richard is a fascinating guest. 9 minutes before 3 o'clock. A little bit later, we expect Ted Serios to come back and visit with us here in our WRND studios after loosening himself up with some kind of imbibement. I'm not sure what it will be. And then we will try our camera experiment. Once again, we had to ask Ted to leave the studio because we do not allow alcoholic beverages in the room. It's 9 before 3 in Chicago, 68 degrees at Midway Airport. It's Friday, July 20th. Hi.
My name is Bob.
Yes, Bob, you're on there.
And I have a few questions for Mr. Crowe.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes. Have you ever heard of the story about Red Blood Holler? It's in West Virginia.
West Virginia. Now, the name of it was Redfoot Holler?
No, Red Blood.
Red Blood.
Red Blood Holler.
Yes.
No, I haven't.
Okay, this story is passed down from my parents and grandparents. Okay, and it started out like, I think in the late 1890s, a lady was murdered at this certain bend of the road. And, okay, I'll first start off with my grandfather's version. And so he was driving, he worked for a coal company, and he was driving down, and then all of a sudden a lady with almost like Resurrection Mary would pop out, and, in front of his truck.
Uh-huh.
But she would have hair the color of blood. And then he'd hit the brakes, and he'd hit her, and then he'd look back, and he'd see her. So then when he gets out of the truck and goes there, she disappears, and then he hears a like real loud like laughing noise that would go off into the woods.
See, we're more interested, in all honesty, with local phenomena, things closer to home. This is something we could never easily check on or ever confirm or deny, which is why I jumped in here.
Is that near any town, or could we call
yeah,
any?
I think it's near a town called, no, I'm not sure I know what town, but the county is, Raleigh County or something like that. I'm not sure.
I'll tell you what, we'll make a note of that for future reference.
If you could find out for us, we could give them a call out there one of these nights and check on that.
I'll tell you, why don't you, if you want to put down, you don't have to write a book, but if you want to put down a couple of notes to send off to Richard, and then we can, make a call there next time Rich comes in, that's okay, no problem. And we'll announce his address on the air again in just a moment. I'm going to run only because we're up against the news, but local phenomena seem to be quite more interesting. Plus, and thank you for calling, they're much easier to check. We can, as Richard said, a lot of local police officers will in confidence, if they know they're not going to be revealed, will tell a lot, won't they?
Right. It's usually much easier, of course, to check on things in person.
Wasn't for some of the Cook County Sheriff's police officers, we'd all be in the dark, right? Hope he isn't too schnockered. Hello there.
Hello?
Yes, who's this? Is this Cliff?
Yeah, this is Cliff.
All right, Cliff, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. Hey, it's Richard Crowe now. I want to find out about his tours.
Okay, what do you want to know?
Well, I want to know when he has them and how much they are and, things like that.
Well, I can't allow him to do a free commercial. He can't get into prices and all that, but if you want to say how often you do them, I will allow that.
Thank you, Ed.
Go ahead.
I run tours throughout the year, but heavier, of course, around Halloween. But I do have a couple to offer every month of the year.
Yeah, my wife, my daughter, my sister are very interested in this, and I would like to know, when you have them, or, who we contact, or how we go about this.
Well, they're Saturday and Sunday afternoons from 1 to 6, and I'd be glad to send you a package of literature on the tours coming up, and I'll give you a choice of dates to pick from.
Okay, well, who do I call, or what do I,
Well, if you drop me a line, I'll send you a whole packet of literature, or anybody else out there that's listening. Just drop me a line, Richard Crowe, C-R-O-W-E, Box 29054.
B-O-X,
29054.
054.
Chicago 60629.
60629.
Right, and I have a current tour I'm running through the western suburbs. It's 110 miles round trip with 12 locations, and I'll have other tours to offer in the months ahead as well. But I'm offering currently my tour through the western suburbs.
But when I call this place here, or I write this place, I'll have all the information I need, right?
I'll send you a whole packet of literature with photographs of some of the sites and information on the tour and some dates that I'll be running in the near future for you.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. 312 on WIND. I think we're ready to give Ted Serios a try now. Here's what happened. We borrowed a camera from a cab driver, okay? Don Whitchard, who's one of our listeners, happened to be in the area. And Don is a very loyal listener of WIND, so he is allowing us to borrow his Polaroid camera with fresh film. He's in my control room right now. Ted Serios has come back to our studios after having a couple of shots of peppermint schnapps somewhere. So let's put Ted back on the chair if he can get there. All right, now hop up on the chair, but try not to fall off. Okay, take your hat off. It's warm in here. Right. All right, you had a little peppermint schnapps, did you?
Oh, yes,
I'm afraid to ask how much you had. How much did you have?
Not very much.
Okay, so you're feeling a little loose, are you?
How did that guy say that in Australia?
I don't...
Oahu? No.
Yowie.
Yowie, yeah. Yowie. I had a little yowie.
Okay, our cab driver, Don Whitchard, is in the studio. And Don, just very loudly, is that your Polaroid camera?
Yes, it is.
Okay, how old is it?
The camera itself,
we can hear you, that's okay.
It's an older model. The film is 2 days old, though. I just picked it up.
It's a brand new film. You don't know Ted Serios, do you?
No, I know him. Just heard of you.
All right, okay, so how are we... You've got two cameras here, is that correct?
Yeah, I have two cameras.
What is the second camera for?
This is, I wasn't sure which one he would like to use. This is one of the newer sonar models that just come out.
It's a brand new camera, but it develops pictures instantly, right?
Both of them do, yes.
Okay, now is one the 60-second and one a 10-second variety?
No, they're both at least a minute.
They both take a minute. All right, Ted, which camera would you prefer?
I prefer the older one.
All right, you want to use the older Polaroid? And what model is that?
I don't know.
Let me see that.
Automatic 250 land camera.
All right, that's one of the originals. Richard, you will attest to the fact that we have this camera here that we've never seen it before?
Never seen it before.
Got a brand, and Don is trustworthy. He's one of our cab drivers, right?
To satisfy the magicians, anybody want to search me?
No, we don't have to search you because we're looking at you. Here's what we're going to do.
Don't worry.
All right, now.
They got always excuses, those guys.
All right.
Hello, Willie.
All right.
I hope Willie's listening.
All right, now, who do you want to hold the camera? Do you want to hold it, or do you want the cab driver to hold it? Which works
just
for you?
Let me hold it
All right.
myself.
Hand him the camera, Don, right now, okay? Ted Serios is being handed the camera.
Push the button.
All right, now, let him take as long as he wants here to push the button, okay? Now what are we going to...
target?
Okay, you want me to have you focus on the target?
Yeah, a secret target that I never saw.
You don't want me to tell you, or you want me to tell you?
No. Just pick something.
Should I write it down?
Why don't you write it down, Ed?
All right. I'm going to write down a target right now on a piece of paper, and nobody's going to see it. And I can't say what it is over the air because Ted is going to be right here in the room, and he's going to hear me. Let me pick something okay. Let me pick something here that, all right, I've just written this down on a piece of paper. Ted is on the other side of the room. I will fold the piece of paper. Now, do you want me to concentrate on this, or is it unnecessary for me to concentrate on it?
Well, sometimes it helps. I don't know. I don't even know how it works.
You don't know how it works?
The first thing that I pick up is something that looks like the Cubs Park. Something that looks like that.
Well, I'm not going to say a word until you take your picture.
Yeah,
listen,
okay.
Yeah, I will be impressed.
Oh, incidentally.
Yes.
Incidentally. If you want to is there any way to turn the lights off?
We can turn all the lights off in the room.
Go ahead.
All right, this is going to be done in the dark, and there's no flash. Is there a flash attachment on this camera?
Well, wait a minute, wait. Before you turn the lights off, let me see how I do with the lights on first.
All right, here we go. Ted, pick up the camera. Rich, you will attest to the fact that I wrote a location on a piece of paper, and it's folded up on the table.
On a piece of paper. I don't even know myself.
Oh, incidentally, when I hit this trigger, I'll give it to Richard.
Okay, you'll hand him the camera?
Why don't we give it back to the cab driver? He knows how to pull it out. I don't work with those cameras.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you just turned the radio on, we are trying a psychic photography experiment live on the radio with Ted Serios. Okay, has Ted got the camera now?
It's in his hand.
All right, we'll all be quiet.
No, that's the worst thing in the world.
You want me to talk?
Yeah.
All right, you...
tell a hapless hood.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll read the weather forecast while Ted is fooling around with the camera then. As far as Chicago's weather is concerned today, Friday, a chance for a morning shower, although I do have a new weather forecast due in here in about half hour, 40 minutes. All right, Ted just took a picture. He just handed the film to the cab driver. All right, Don Witcher, the cab driver, is just taking the picture out. Would you hand me that thing, please? I want it nowhere near you guys. All right.
Why not?
No. Let me, on the air, you can hear that. That is the Polaroid film. I have it with me. We will let it sit. I've started the stopwatch here, and at about a minute, we will develop this thing, and I'm going to give you 4 or 5 tries at this. If you don't do it in 4 or 5 tries, I'm going to consider this a bad night for you and send you out of here, okay?
All right.
All right. Well, I'm not going to send you out. You can say, we'll get you some coffee and try and bring you back to earth. Okay, we're now 20 seconds into the development process, actually about 30 seconds. All right, I'm going to give it another 30 seconds just to be safe. And even a little longer? Okay, we'll give it a minute and a half because it's an old camera. All right, I'm not even going to go to a commercial message here. We're going to stay right here. We're not going anywhere until this picture is ready.
Photographer, too.
It's up to 55 seconds now, and I'll let it go to about a minute and a half. This is WIND Chicago. Ed Schwartz here. Richard Crowe, the ghost hunter. Ted Serios, psychic photographer. And cab driver Don Witcher, who's letting us borrow his Polaroid camera. Ted Serios held the camera in his hands, pointed it at his face, and snapped the shutter. We are all witnesses, correct, Rich?
That's right.
At which point he took his hands off the camera immediately. There's no way this can be faked. If it works, I'm going to be very impressed. If it doesn't, I'll understand this is a bright room with a lot of lights, a lot of electronic equipment. Could have made you nervous. I'm not going to hold it against you if it doesn't work. If it does work, I think I'll fall off the chair. All right?
You know, electronics get a lot of people nervous. You know, there's such a thing as an idiot running around with electrons.
Yeah. All right, we are now up to a minute and a half. What do I do? Just peel this back? That's it? Okay. I just peel this back? All right, I have peeled back the photograph, and let's see.
Ted Serios.
I can't tell. I don't see an easy image on there, but it appears to be some light. Richard, will you examine this photograph, please? See if you see anything on there. Does that look totally blank to you, or does there appear to be some light on there? I can't quite tell.
It looks pretty dark. Have you seen a picture like that before from there?
Don, do you see anything?
Don?
Well, without the flash on.
Without the flash? Okay.
It looks like it. All right, so what do we call this? I guess we have to call this a failure then, right?
Normal.
Normal?
That's a normal.
Never call any of those failures because you don't know. See, tomorrow morning that thing could come up with a big headache. I mean, you know, some image or something.
Really? All right, let me...
Hold on to that for now, then, Ed.
All right.
Let's mark that number 1.
All right, here you go, Rich. All right, now, should I just keep the same location on the piece of paper and let you try it again, or should I change it?
No. Keep it.
All right.
Keep it.
Let's take another picture. Ted Serios. Okay, you want... No, we can leave the lights on. We can turn them off later. I don't care. Whatever's easy. Ted, go ahead and do it.
Is it cocked?
That's
all right, the camera's all ready. Coming up on 20 minutes after 3 o'clock in the morning. If you're on hold waiting for Richard Crowe and myself, we'll be with you in just a few minutes. I appreciate your patience. I can tell that about 4 or 5 people have been waiting here quite a while. And as soon as Ted is through, there goes the camera clip, we will try it again. Okay, let us remove the picture. I'll start the clock. Okay, here's picture number 2.
I predict there will be, I hope it's your target.
If there's anything at all on this, I'll be impressed, okay? Now, I'll give you 2 more chances. If there's nothing on here, then we'll have to try it again at some other point because we don't want to use all of this new Polaroid film up. Nothing has come up on picture number 1 yet.
Oh, you didn't take that picture, huh?
No, I haven't used this one yet.
Okay, we've got the second camera here. We can always try that if necessary. All right, we're 30 seconds into picture number 2.
No, I want him to get a picture of me.
Holding the camera?
Yeah,
all right,
while I'm taking a picture.
All right.
That's all right.
We'll do that. That's no problem. You've got witnesses here. You've got Richard Crowe and myself, Rob Hess, our producer in the control room.
Eddie, how many thousands of people that I got people that are witnesses? It doesn't mean a darn thing. I'm still a fake.
to a lot of people, in other words.
Oh, I'd have to go through the whole world to do this. The whole world.
To prove it to me, you're going to have to do it right in this room.
I know.
To prove it to me.
How many people are in the world?
About, 2 billion, I guess?
Yeah. Could I last that long?
Well, I don't know if we have enough film.
All right.
All right, we're 1 minute and 10 seconds. We'll give it about 1.5 minutes, and then we'll peel back.
Schwanholz.
All right. Now, don't be nasty to people that don't believe you. I mean, everybody's entitled to be...
No, Willie is... well, you met Willie.
Willie was on the program with us one night. Yeah, Richard brought him in.
He's a great guy.
All right, here we are. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds. Don, should I go ahead and peel this back? All right, here we go. 1 minute and 30 seconds. And oh my gosh!
No.
Oh boy!
Oh,
this picture is loaded. Look at this.
Oh.
It worked. It worked. I cannot believe this. There is an image on that picture.
Did you guys see my hands?
I don't believe it, ladies and gentlemen. Ted Serios has done it. Let me see that picture again. And what does it look like to you, Rich?
I don't know.
What does it look like to you?
Some streaks of light on there.
Does it look like a tall building, maybe? Because what I wrote down on my piece of paper, would you read what I wrote down on the piece of paper, Rich?
Sears Tower.
Doesn't that look like a very tall building to you? I can't believe it. Serios has done this right here in our studios.
That's right.
Holding a camera pointed right at his nose. I can't believe this. Yeah. Will Davis, our engineer, is in. Rob Hess. Does everybody agree that
if that's Ted's face in the background, how did that light get in front of him is what I'd like to know.
I don't know. I won't tell you.
I am freaked out. He did it.
The strange thing about it is that there's no light behind
There's no light behind Serios. The only lights in the room are on me, so I can see my controls. Let me see that picture again, Rich. I can't believe that.
That works pretty good, don't it?
Doesn't that look like a building?
It's big, yeah.
Doesn't that look like a building?
Sure.
It looks like a picture of either a church spire or a tall building.
And for the record, so
yes.
There's a lot. I hope there's a lot of people listening.
There's a lot.
I offered you to search me now.
That's correct. Sure. But there's no way you could. There's nothing you could. I took the film from the camera.
Wait till you meet those your friends, Randy and Milburn.
All right, now don't be nasty about the magicians. The colors of this photograph are white, green, and yellow, and approximately gold and black. Would you like to try this again, or do you think once is enough? Do you think you could do this again?
I don't know.
Can we try another, Ted?
All right, let's try another one.
Yeah, but what if I start missing then? You know?
I'm already convinced. You've done this in front of me. You've produced a picture.
I imagine your audience is pretty bored by now.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
I'm going to write down a new location on the piece of paper here. Rich, that is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, from black to
look at the
some great colors here.
Yeah, I mean, with a Polaroid pointed right at his nose.
Wish you had more of it.
Do you see Ted's face in that picture? I don't really see Ted's face.
It looks like he's in the back, Ed, but... if that's his face in the background, how do those lights get in front of him is what I'd like to know.
Because there's no light in front of him here whatsoever. All right, I'm going to write down another location. I'll tell you what, it's 24 minutes after 3. Let's take a quick message. We'll come right back. Another message here, then we'll come back. Ted Serios will try another psychic photograph. Don Richard, the cab driver, is going to take a picture of Ted, taking a picture of his face, and Richard and I will witness this, and we'll see what happens. Try this again?
For sure, Ed.
I just wrote down another location on a folded piece of paper. Nobody can see what it is, okay?
A sealed ballot.
Okay. Don Richard, the cab driver, is going to take a picture with one Polaroid camera of Ted as he tries to produce another photograph here in our WIND studios. Now, Ted, how about if we try it this time with the lights off? What do you say?
I don't care.
Okay. Now, the picture we're going to take of Ted will be done with flash, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Rob Hess, turn the lights off, please. Okay, the only lights in this studio, let me describe it, and Ted, you go ahead and do what you want to do. The only light in the studio is the red light on the wall that indicates my microphone is on, and there are also some red lights on our audio console here that indicate the switches are on, and there are also some flashing white lights here in the studio that indicate the telephones are working. Otherwise, this room is completely dark, and we've got everything off in the joint. Ted is sitting here in the dark, concentrating with the camera. He's got it in his hands, and we're all looking intently at Ted. We are doing everything we can now to keep an eye on him. I have no idea what's going to happen. The secret location I'm thinking of in the back of my mind, I have written it down on this piece of paper. When you hear the click of the camera, that indicates that Ted Serios will have taken the picture. At the same time, the cab driver will take a picture of Ted. Okay, there goes 2 clicks. 2 cameras, lights on, please. Start the stopwatch. Okay, all lights on, please. All right. If you'll hand me the Polaroid film from the camera.
Here goes
Thank
Ted's
you, John.
Picture. Okay.
Okay, now which picture is this? Is this this is the
Ted's
picture
that you've got in your hand.
All right, this is the picture from the camera. Okay. And my location is still written down on a piece of paper. We're 20 seconds into the development process now on both of these pictures.
This way too. 2 cameras at once.
Right.
It's hard to do.
2 cameras. All right. This is amazing here now. It's 3:28. We're 30 seconds into development. And we're going to peel back on the old Polaroid camera print here in just a...
Resurrection Mary.
I certainly hope not. I'll tell you. I've got to look once again at the picture that Ted took. Do we have to put some gook on this to keep it from fading?
No, it should.
It won't fade, huh?
Don't believe so.
It looks like a tall building. It really does. It looks almost like a church spire. All right, let's put that aside. That was picture number 2. Okay, 60 seconds have now gone by for picture number 3, and I have no idea what's going to happen. We'll go... a minute and a half here. Let me take a little sip.
This time it was a dark picture because
right.
I have no witnesses.
Yeah. No, you had witnesses. We were all sitting right here looking at you.
In the dark?
There was enough room from the red light on the wall.
Do you know what Dr. Eisenbud would say about that in the dark?
That's all right. We had enough light in this room with light streaming in from this electronic console. You've got the picture of Ted. Can I see that, please, Don? This is the picture of Ted that is now developing, holding the camera in front of his face. There's nothing in his hands except the Polaroid camera. My producer is standing right over Ted's shoulder. You can see him in the background. So here, I'll pass that around. Rich, you want to take a look at that? You'll witness that? Okay, it's now 1 minute and 45 seconds. Are you ready, gang?
That is
all right, here we go. I'm going to peel back on the Polaroid now. What happens? I've got a blank picture here. I do not see anything at all. I'll pass that around. You concur that that's blank? Richard?
That's a blank one this time.
All right, so we got a blank one. Should we try one more? Because the last time around on the second try is when we got it. Let's try one more with Ted Serios. All right, we have to get some new Polaroid film. All right. We'll, again, break here for a message. We'll come back in just a moment, and we'll get some more film. Put the camera in front of his face again and tap it again. I don't want the alcohol to wear off is what we're worried about here. We're going to do another one here. Here he goes. There goes the second one. He's taking another picture. There we go. Yeah. There's 2 right in a row now. Ted Serios has just taken 2 more Polaroid photographs. And I've got them both right here. The clock is running. We're 30 seconds into the first one, 10 seconds into the second one. Okay, so I'm going to let both of these sit here for about 1.5 minutes, and then we'll open them up. Rich, are you impressed with this? What do you think?
This was a very interesting one tonight. The second one. It's been I've never seen Ted produce that quickly before, so that's amazing. And of course, to do it in front of all of us.
Yes, we've got 1 success. 2 that are dark at this time. I have 2 more photographs now sitting on the table. This is what kind of film, Don, do you use in that camera?
Just regular Polaroid.
Just regular Polaroid film, huh? Yeah, all right, no problem. You don't even have to find the box. No problem. Plus, we have another picture of Ted doing this, and our producer standing behind him. So we'll put that picture up there. I'm going to wait just about another half a minute here before we start fooling around and peeling back the... the camera we're using is the old Polaroid kind of accordion type camera. It's one of the early models, which means it has the film that you have to pull back. And rather than just pop out and develop instantly, we have to wait a minute or so for it. Okay, my stop clock now says 1 minute and 40 seconds since the time the first picture was taken. I'll wait until it reads 2 minutes. By that time, both will have had a chance to develop. And then I will peel them back. Then we have to decide what to do with the picture that worked. I guess we should give that to Ted, because that's evidence of his success. And we can all sign that picture, Ted, indicating that it in fact happened right here in our radio studio. All right, 2 minutes have now gone by. Here's picture number 1 coming out now. Let me make sure I do. I just peeled it back like this. Okay. Picture number 1 that was taken just as the commercial was ending. Okay? This has, I'm impressed. Now, here, Rich, take a look at this. There's a flash of light, but that might be is that a reflection of the red light on the microphone? Perhaps reflecting off of something? That picture was taken with a light on, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well then...
It was taken with the light on, right? So
that wouldn't
the lights
work.
were on.
The red light, the little red flash that we're seeing in that picture could not come from the red light indicating the mic was on, because the mic was off when Ted took the picture. Because the commercial was on. There would have been no microphone on in the room. So the red streak on that picture is not of origin in the room because there was no red light on at the time. Here comes picture number 2. This is the final picture that we took this morning. Let me peel this back again from the Polaroid film. Here we go. And this one, there seems to be a little bit of glow. Rich, take a look, but I don't see any particular thing. Now, the piece of paper that I wrote the location down, what I wrote down was the water tower at Michigan and Chicago. Rich,
water tower, yes.
All right, so we've got 1 success here and a couple that nothing happened with. Well, how do we evaluate Ted? What do you think? Are we impressed with him?
I couldn't do that. So.
I couldn't do that either. Look at look at that. He's fooling with a camera again. He just took another one. All right, hand me the film. All right, you just heard the click. He's really intent on taking a picture of something here. All right, let's.
I want to get your target, and then I can go home and get drunk. Go to sleep.
You can get drunk if you want. You've already started. I'll say that. It's 3:35. This is one of the most unbelievable radio programs we've ever done. I mean, we've done a lot of things around here, but we've never done this. All right, we're 20 seconds into this. How much do you pay for a roll of Polaroid film, Don?
It's about $5. Not much.
Boy, we spend $5 and a half a bottle of
Drank your booze?
Listen,
It's well worth it. I'm impressed.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, we're 35 seconds.
If you're impressed, it's worth it to me. I hope to you.
Relax, Ted.
Smashed.
Don't even try and talk. 45 seconds coming up.
I didn't need anything when I come over here. That's
great. And I had no idea Ted was coming here. So, all right, you want to take a picture of me unveiling the picture? Go here. And what I have is a clock with a timer on it. And we're at a minute. We're a minute and 5. All right, we're coming up now in a minute and 10. I'm going to let it go to a minute and 30. And here, what you hear right there is the Polaroid film. Rich, are you ready for the unveiling?
I'm ready.
All right, Rich, I want you to look over my shoulder. We're 1 minute and 20 seconds since the picture was taken. All right, here we go. We're going to take another one. What you heard in the background was Don, the cab driver, just taking a picture of me getting ready to unveil. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, zap. Okay, and what I've got here again appears to be, Rich, you want to witness that? It looks like it's kind of blank, huh?
Like the other ones that were normal.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Okay, so
I can't get them all.
Hey, all right, you did one. I'll accept that. We've got one that worked and a few that did not. Ted, would you like us? Oh, he wants to do it again, huh? He's got these. Go ahead. We'll just keep talking here while you're fooling around with the camera. Ted is looking right at the camera lens.
Hey, you still got it on normal?
Yeah, it's the same way it was.
All right, Rich.
Sure?
Yeah.
This thing here? This.
Yeah, it's on 75. That's
I don't know.
That's
all right, Rich, will you stare at him, please? All right,
I'm watching.
We're all looking at Ted Serios right now. It's 3:37 in the morning, and he's fooling around with a Polaroid camera again. I don't know if he's going to produce a picture or not.
I'm going to get your target, I hope.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm aiming
Have you
for.
done it yet? Have you taken the picture yet? No. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I want to see a picture of the water tower, that's all, Chicago Water Tower. All right, I will describe Ted as placing the camera right in front of his face right now. It's literally, the lens is right in front of his nose. He's staring at the camera, and he's going to press the button right now. Here we go. Okay. Richard, did you see anything unusual there?
No. I mean, outside of someone taking a picture of themselves.
All right, hand me that if you will.
Which is what's necessary.
All right, we'll start the stopwatch again. And this will be the last one. If you don't get it now, I'm going to send you home, okay?
All right,
If you don't get it now, we'll give you the night off. You already did one, and we're impressed. And then, of course, we've got some of Richard's callers still coming in here. It's 22 minutes ahead of 4 o'clock in the morning. And 20 seconds has now gone by since we took the last photograph. And I will have to thank Don Richard, the cab driver, for running in here with his camera. It's Are you a regular nighttime listener of WIND?
Yes, listened for quite a while.
And were you just coming off of duty when you came in?
No, I was just at home.
You came all the way down from home, huh?
Park, yeah.
All right. Well, we may pack Ted in the back of your car and have you drop him off. We're not letting him drive anywhere. All right,
I'm on the drive.
You're not going on the drive. No way. It's 45 seconds now.
I want to drive over to Willie Schwanholz's house.
Now, you leave Willie out of this. It's 52 seconds now. This will be the last unveiling of a Ted Serios photograph. And we're gonna try it again. Okay, we're up to 60 seconds. Rich, I'll give it a little bit longer, okay?
Okay.
Now, you're sitting, if I can describe for you the scene at home, Richard is sitting right next to Ted. He's on, Ted is on Richard's right. I'm sitting across the table from both of them, and you did not see anything unusual during any of these photographs, right, Rich?
No, the setting was on normal for the camera, and Ted points at it himself and squeezes the camera intently, but that's about it. I hope your camera's all right there, Don.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, Richard, you will also attest to the fact that I didn't know Ted was going to be here tonight, right?
No, Ted called me and said he heard I was going to be on. I said, if you want to stop up and watch part of the show, to do so. And then, of course, circumstances just came up that Don volunteered the camera.
All right.
We had no idea we were going to do this.
All right, here we go.
I never met him.
We're up to 2 minutes now. This will be the last picture, okay? Oh, my God, there's light on it. There's light on it. Look at this. We've got I don't know what to make of this. We've got another picture from Ted Serios. This is another picture of bright light. What does that look like to you, Rich? I can't quite make it out.
That's weird.
It's a weird design, but it's a bright, flashy light on otherwise a dark background. I'm not sure that it looks like the Chicago Water Tower, but some kind of energy did come from Ted because it's been captured on the film.
Scientifically, if you put these all in rotation, you find out there's a lot of things, you know.
Really?
I'm not a scientist, Ed, but
Rich, were
I
you
mean, if you put them all in rotation.
No, I'm trying to see what's an orange streak around here.
Yeah, there's nothing in the room. Behind Ted is nothing but a wall made of wood.
Hello, Mary.
All right, let me see that again, Rich. I didn't take a good look at that. This is all right. I don't know. Looking at it, if you hold it on an angle, it almost looks like Marina City away.
That's what I was thinking, right?
And there's something behind it that looks almost like a snake, or I don't know what. It looks like a bean sprout. Well, we've got two pictures from Ted Serios. Both of them, the camera was aimed directly at his face. Don Wichert, the cab driver, did you see him do anything?
No.
All right, we were all staring at him.
Neat, yeah.
All right, Rob Hess, my producer's in here. Did you see him do anything untoward or unusual?
Nothing unusual, no.
All right, so we all agree.
I was definitely impressed.
So we all agree that Ted Serios, out of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out of 7 pictures, no, 6 pictures. Out of 6 pictures, we've got 2 images and 4 that are dark, okay? Or we've got another one there that's got a little orange streak. What do you say, Rich? What does this prove to you, if anything?
Ted's picking up something from somewhere. Obviously, they all should have come out the same way. They all should have come out normal black.
But they didn't.
But they didn't.
All right. Ted, I got to tell you, I'm very impressed.
Thank you very much.
We're going to send you home now to get some rest, but we're going to try this experiment again, okay?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to try it again. This time I'd like to, you know, when we have more time, have someone else hold the camera.
All right.
This is just an emergency thing.
All right. And Don Wichert, cab driver, listener, thank you for the use of your camera, and we'll have to buy you a roll of film, okay?
Okay, no problem.
All right. Rich,
Can I get I'm going to get a ride from him here.
All right, we'll get you out the door safely. The cab driver will take you home. What do you say we answer the telephone on what's been a very unusual program so far, huh?
Good calls tonight. A lot of strange things happening tonight.
You better believe it. Hello there. No, I guess that person didn't hold on. Hello there.
You're kidding.
No, you're next. You're next. Is this Dolores?
It is.
All right, Dolores, go ahead. You're on the air.
Well, you have me speechless. Little did I ever think at 3:30 in the morning I would be in the dark with Eddie Schwartz.
Hey, I'm having fun. I don't know about you.
That was a tough act to follow. Now, I'm going to tell you one of my stories.
What kind of story do you have?
Well, I think it's a little, it falls in place with what you've been talking about, but it's slightly different. I live in my house for 5 years. I want to tell you about the first winter that I came here, the first heavy snowstorm. And I looked out my window and saw a heart stamped out in the front of my house. And I should have told you in the first place, I live in the country on 8 acres, so the likelihood of anyone coming over is unlikely, but I didn't think of that. And I was talking with my cousin and said, at least the neighbors are friendly. Some kids stomped a heart out in front of the house. As I was leaving to go to work, my mother said, "Where's the heart?" And I said, it's outside the door. And I left. And when I came home, my mother said, there's a circle around the heart. I said, no, there was no circle around the heart. You're mistaken. She said, I wish you'd go and look at it. It's not footprints at all. It's our dog Sugar's footprints. So I got up, put the floodlight out to take a look. She said, she said, where are you going? And I said, I'm going to look at your heart, but there is no circle there, or there wasn't any when I looked at it.
First of all, this thing is getting more confusing.
I knew that I had a heart in front of the house, a heart in back of the house with a circle. The footprints were of our dog's footprints that made this. And in asking questions of people who are students of phenomenon, I was told that an animal can be used as a vehicle of expression by spirit. Yes, to answer your question.
Did you photograph these?
No, unfortunately, I took it so for granted that I didn't. I did not.
And what kind of dog did you have?
I have a Sheltie, a crippled Sheltie, as a matter of fact. The heart in front of the house was at least as big as a car. And I never looked at it other than observing from the second floor that it was indeed a heart. My mother uses the back door. So when I said door, she went outside the back, and that was a smaller heart, maybe, 5 by 5 or slightly larger than that, and then a circle. And the message was this in the party. In fact, it was clergy that gave me the interpretation. He said that a heart is love and a circle is unity, and somebody is united with you and sending a message of love. And let's say, too, that at the time, we had one problem fall on us after another, very devastating, and I felt very warm. It was a warm feeling to me. It was a comforting feeling that in spite of what we were experiencing, that there was some thought from somewhere else to us in our time of sorrow.
Well, do you buy that explanation?
It certainly makes sense. It's an amazing story. I've never heard anything quite like that before.
Sure, well, if it was...
I was hoping as you were going along that you would I wondered whether you've done research in phenomenon and how long you've been at it, because some of the stories were without explanation. Now, I am curious, for example, in the breathing, I would say that spirit doesn't breathe, and therefore it had nothing to do with spirit. Would you tell me, have you ever heard of breathing stories before?
Oh, yes. Breathing.
You?
Yes, breathing, particularly if there's any kind of a, for instance, if someone did have asthma during life, then their spirit would have a similar sound. Or if spirits, of course, don't wear perfume or don't smoke cigars, but a sense of cigar smoke or perfume or something that was associated with the individual would be noticed by someone later afterwards. So that's not, I mean, the characteristics that we pick up during our lifetime are the same characteristics that make us identifiable as individuals, and these are such that would be picked up after our death.
Why would you say that, would you have explanation for scents? I was receiving a lot of scents, cigars or perfume.
The olfactory sensation, we'll call that.
I think that's very neglected by 20th century man, but it once important, and it is one of the 5 senses, and it is a sense, I think, that can be triggered easier than many people realize. And John Keel, the writer, spent a bit of time writing about a sense like that. I think it's one that we don't think about, and yet it's one that can be easily triggered.
I was awakened many times by the scent of perfume, but I disregarded that, thinking that perhaps it was on my arm or a hairspray. And I really never told anybody about it. And then as I began to study phenomenon as well, I got more curious, and I would sit up and ask for identification, very foolishly, until I learned better much later. But being a novice, I would ask for identification, and then I decided that too many areas were opening up, and I decided to learn the prayer to kind of close these things away, because it got to be a bit too much. And this part is interesting. Coming home, driving with my mother one afternoon, and when I had closed the door, and because I say the happenings to me, my mother said, she was downstairs at the time, said, I've been meaning to tell you something all day and simply forgot about it. This morning I thought you came down and were playing a trick on me, because I have a dog in bed with me, and the dog growled, and there was perfume under my nose. And she said, I thought you just took a bottle and were awakening me very pleasantly. And I opened my eyes, and nobody was there. And then that was the first time that I told her that I had the experience many times, and I just chose then not to have it anymore. And it went to her. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, it is.
I don't know how we can classify that any further, and I'm going to run on you here, but thank you for the call. It just gives us another little something to think about.
A lot of animal-oriented ghost stories.
Yeah. Yes. Of the hundreds and hundreds of calls that Richard has taken on the program over the years, some have been a little hard to believe, some have been silly, many have been really interesting like this. Hard to classify them. Thank you for your call. Here's an interesting story that I'm sure ABC will report if they haven't already. Hunter is with me as we continue through the final segment of our Friday morning show. You ready, old buddy?
Yes, I am, Ed.
All right, we'll go back to Richard, then tonight we'll celebrate the moon landing some 10 years ago today. Hello there.
Hello, Ed?
Yeah, who's this?
This is Greg.
Good morning, Greg.
How you doing?
Very good. Thank you for your patience. Were you listening to Ted Serios take pictures here in the studio before?
Yes, I was.
What do you think of all that? Rich and I didn't make that up.
Yeah, it's strange. I've been into parapsychology for a while. I've heard of that happening, but I can't explain it, really.
I can't either, and it happened right in front of my nose, too. What do you want to talk about?
I wanted to talk to Richard about Julia Bicola Petto.
Uh-huh.
I'm out here in Elmhurst. I live fairly close to Mount Carmel, and I've heard a number of variations on the story about how she died, and I thought maybe you'd be interested in that.
Well, I do have a copy of her death certificate, and after Cook County lost the file for a while, I finally was able to acquire one, and she did die in childbirth.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know there are a number of stories floating around about how she died, but she did die in childbirth.
Right.
Okay. Do you have anything to shed on her?
Well, just from friends of mine, I've heard two basic different stories. The first one, they say that she, how did it go? She died, first she was murdered. Supposedly her husband was having an affair with another woman, and he slipped her a minky on her wedding night.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
On her wedding night?
Yes. And that was the reason, supposedly, she was buried in her wedding gown, because that was the dress she died in.
Uh-huh.
How inconvenient.
Yeah. Didn't last too long. Let's see. The second version, I can't quite remember. Sorry, I can't remember the second version. But another thing I was going to ask Richard about is I've heard of a couple of private homes in the area here. My neighbors own a beach house in Michigan, and that reportedly is haunted. A young guy died up there about 20 years ago, and a number of people have reported sort of poltergeist activities in the house. I was going to talk to my neighbors if Richard would be interested. I could get him a report on that.
Yes, I would, although poltergeist effects in themselves aren't really that impressive to me unless there was some kind of a visual sighting of a ghost as well.
Yeah, I've asked about that. So far, there haven't been any.
Because, of course, poltergeist manifestations, or what we call poltergeist manifestations, knocking, sounds, small objects moving around, things of that nature, can be caused by the subconscious mind as well. It's not necessarily by an entity out somewhere, you know,
I see,
existing outside a human in the area. It could well be a byproduct or some kind of a product of the subconscious mind. That's why in cases like that, I want some kind of other verification, some kind of a visual sighting, something like this that would show that it's more than just perhaps someone who's subconsciously producing it, not aware that they're producing it, and yet producing it themselves.
Yeah, the only proof I suppose you could offer along that line is that my sister spent some time up there with the neighbors just before the 4th of July holiday.
Uh-huh.
And there's a dog buried near the house that belonged to the person who died. It was a young man, as I said. And one morning they came out and they found a dig mark from a hand, a human hand, in this mound, like somebody was trying to reach the body of the dog. Other than that, there's really been nothing physical or an apparition.
Dog digs, huh?
Well, if you come up with anything along those lines, please keep me in mind.
Oh, okay. Oh, I just wanted to mention, too, that I'm here with a friend of mine, Hal. It's an acquaintance of Richard's that he met at College of DuPage when he did a lecture out there.
Uh-huh.
And we were going to look into the Bennett Academy phenomena.
Real good.
So we'll
College of DuPage is also a place I've spoken at a number of times now, and a lot of good people out there. I've got a lot of fans out there. I really appreciate you folks.
Yeah, we're all with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks much.
Bye-bye. 15 minutes after 4 o'clock, WIND Chicago. There's no small craft warning up this morning. So if you're going boating, variable winds less than 10 knots. The waves calm to 1 foot this morning. Water temperature 65 degrees. Hello.
Hello?
Jackie?
Yes.
You have your radio off at home?
Yes, yes.
All right, you're on the air. Go ahead.
I want to speak to the man about the ghost.
Right here.
I'm right here.
Well, I live in a house, and whatever this is, I got up one morning to cook, and they taken my stove loose apart, and then sometime I be getting ready to go away, and they snatched my keys, and I said, now, look, I got to go away. When I go in the kitchen and come back, my keys better be here. They'll be in the middle of the bed. One day I was getting ready to go out, and I couldn't find my eyebrow pencil, and a friend of mine had been making fun of me, so he says, hurry up. I says, come here. And I said, you been making, I said, look. I said, that's in here. I said, come on, let's go back. So when I walked in the kitchen and came back, it was in the pocketbook. So I would like, and then some nights I wake up the lights burning. Could you tell me what it is?
Well, it sounds like it's a typical poltergeist or mischievous ghost.
A who?
What would be called a poltergeist, which means a mischievous ghost or a noisy ghost. And I think that if it apparently is bothering you somewhat, I think if you just order it to leave.
No, it doesn't frighten me. It gets mischievous.
Uh-huh.
The lady downtown, I went to get my prescription filled, and I had some new scissors that I cut the hair out my nose. And I told her, I said, look, I want to get some scissors. I said, I had some, but I need me flush. I said, but she said, well, I know. She called the name of it. She says, he's going to bring them back. So when he bring them back, you come and get your money. The scissors was $4.75. She said, but don't lose the receipt. I said, no. When I got home, she had took a piece of tape and taped it onto the box. So about a month later, I came in, and it was lying on a nightstand by my bed.
You certainly have a mischievous ghost. Anyone would take a piece of cheese from the kitchen and put it in your bed. Maybe you have a rat.
I said, no, my scissors.
Oh, your scissors this time, huh?
Yeah, these were scissors. And then I went in to cook one morning. He took the eyes loose on the stove.
He took what from the stove?
Took the eyes loose like you're going to clean it.
Yeah?
They took them off and put them underneath.
Oh, that's very interesting. Maybe this is the ghost of a dead short-order cook.
And another day, I was sitting there writing letters. When I looked around, he had snatched my stamps and put them behind me. And another night, I was sitting up crocheting, and I looked, he got the needle, and about a year later, it was laying out in the middle of the living room floor.
You live alone?
Nope, I live with my husband.
Has he seen these things, too?
Well, he made fun of me until he went in here about 2 months ago and seen his stove taken apart.
Uh-huh. You don't think he's doing these things?
Oh, no, 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 no.
He's not that joker, huh?
No, no. He didn't do that. But see, here, and one night, just as I walked out of my bedroom, and the lights went off, and I told him. He said, you left it on. So a few nights later, they came on again. I wake up at night, and the house lit up. Could you tell me something about this?
Well, this is the mischievous ghost or a poltergeist. And if you want to get rid of it, there are two ways to do it. You can either do it yourself and order him out very firmly, or you can have some priest or clergyman come in and bless the house and do the job for you.
Good luck, Jackie. I'm going to get out of here before I find out something else that'll scare me to death. Poltergeist, huh? That sounds just like them, doesn't it?
Boy, some people have all kinds of fun and games going on with their local ghosts.
All right, our telephone number is 591-5656. If you'd like to join us on WIND, That's 591-5656. While I have a moment here, I've got my almanac out for this early Friday morning. This is 1993. How are you?
Fine.
Good. Go right ahead with your comment, please.
Yes. 20 years ago, I moved in this home, and we got the keys from the people, and we came in to wash the walls, and my husband went into the bedroom to wash them, and he got so sick with the odor, he just opened the front door, and he just heaved all over. And I went in there, and I did the same thing, and we said, well, what was in there? So he said, well, we can't clean this bedroom. He said, we got to go home and get a fan from your mother. So we did, and he had 2 handkerchiefs tied around his mouth and nose, and he washed it down. We washed it 4 or 5 times. We sprayed it with everything. We did everything. Well, our last resort was we had to move in, so we painted it with silver paint, and we figured that should do it. It didn't. 1 whole year we lived here with that odor. And we slept on the floor till about November, and we had to get in for the Christmas holidays. So we shut the door, and we put a rug by the bottom of the door, and we managed with the windows open. And my daughter sleeps in the connecting wall, the 2 rooms, and that odor did not go into her room or anything. So then, after we moved in, the bedroom that was from June to November, say, she hollered, Mother, come in here. And my husband and I dashed in the room. She says, listen to this, click, click. And, we're still bothered with that click, click. And it took us over a year, really, to get the fumes out of our bed. Now, we went through the chimneys. We had the chimney cleaned. We called the company up, the electric company, the gas company. We had everything. We had new roof. We had new sockets. We had everything, new furnace. We still get the click, click.
Something is clicking in your house, huh?
Mm-hmm. And it comes and it goes. It'll leave for months, and then it comes, and we just sit up in bed. It's just like the old-time switches. And she was 10 years old, and she slept with me for at least 2 years before she got used to it. She just would not go to sleep by herself in there. She said, Mother, I don't like it, and I'm not going in that bedroom. And we still get it on and off.
Click, click. The click, click ghost.
And we had the...
Why would you spend so much money to redo a house if it was bothering you that much? I mean, why didn't you just get out of there?
Well, it really doesn't scare me because I haven't seen anything. But the idea is, could there be anything to this? I really don't believe it.
Well, what do you think, Ghost Hunter? Crazy smells again.
Well, we've got that strange smell and the click-click sound. There's nothing visual.
No, nothing visual.
And it's hard to say. It's a possibility that the origin of what's going on is paranormal. And if it is paranormal, it could also be for the subconscious mind of someone around. I'd really have to know a lot more about it.
Well, all of us. It's not only me. It's my husband. And, my brother came over, and he said, my God, he said, why don't you tear down that wall? I said, I have another expense. Don't give me that. I just moved in. And he says, there's something got to be behind this wall. Well, would that smell stay over a year if it was anything dead in there?
It could. It could.
Hard to say. I think if you really are uncomfortable still, you can have a contractor come in and poke around a little bit. You could have some insects or some rodents living in a wall and making all kinds of noises.
Dead rats or something in the wall. It could be a number of things.
It could be a mouse that's got a little hole that runs in and out of... Good luck. I don't think we can do much here at this point, but if you're comfortable living there, then don't invite us over for dinner. Thank you, James, very much. Oh, Lord, what we're ending up with on the radio this morning.
Unusual cases and calls tonight.
The ghost hunter, Richard Crowe, is with me. It's 25 minutes after 4 o'clock. This is his first visit other than on a Friday night or a Saturday night. We've had an interesting program so far, haven't we?
There's just as many interesting calls tonight, I'll tell you. This morning, that is.
Try another one here. Good morning, Chuck.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Very good.
Fine. I'd like to ask the gentleman that you have there as a guest if he heard any more about this Amityville horror out east.
We were talking about that earlier. Jay Anson was on here last week. What Jay Anson told us, now he's the guy that wrote the book, what he told me was that house right now is vacant. Nobody is living in it. And he said he wrote the book from the story told to him by the Lutz family, but he couldn't prove or disprove it. And Richard met Mr. Lutz because you did a television show with
I did AM Chicago with George Lutz. And I'm also a very close friend of Father John Nicola, who wrote the introduction to the book, who's familiar with the entire Lutz family, as well as Jay Anson, who told me that he believes it's all a very true case of such a happening. So that's good enough for me.
I called in because we had I worked at a hotel in Palatine, and we had some people in from the town that lived down the street from the house, apparently. And they, I saw when they registered in, I just asked them about it, of course, because I had just finished reading the book. And they said it was all a big hoax, that they bought the house and they couldn't sell it, because then they built up this whole story about trying to sell the home, And I was just concerned about who was pulling whose leg and where,
Well, Anson doesn't believe he had any wool pulled over his eyes. I'll tell you what I'll do. You're the third person this morning to bring up the Amityville story. That's Amityville, Long Island, New York.
Right.
The house is at 112 Ocean Avenue. I am going to put up the tape of our visit with Jay Anson from last week and let you listen to a few minutes of it, and maybe he can clear up a few questions in your mind, okay?
That'd be fine.
I'll do that right away.
Okay, thank you much.
Thank you. The movie, by the way, I guess is opening around the Chicago area. I have not seen it yet, but I hope to do that soon. Good morning.
Hello.
Hi there. You want to turn your radio down?
Excuse me?
You want to turn your radio all the way off for me, okay?
Yeah, very good.
Okay, you're on the air, so go ahead. Wait a minute, you've got to turn the radio off now. I don't know what to do. I'll give you 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is your radio off?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Listen, Ed, I would like to know...
Are you a ghost?
No.
Okay.
Spooky, but I'm not a ghost.
All right.
Listen, Richard a couple times tonight has talked about telling ghosts to simply go away and they'll leave.
Right.
Well, hopefully they will.
Yeah, right. Okay. I would just like to know that whether or not you have ever gone to a site and told the ghost to leave, or whether you've ever been involved in an exorcism.
Okay. I personally do not get involved in exorcisms. I think that people should take care of their own ghosts and problems. And if they have any further need of help, I steer them towards a clergyman. And I have Catholic and Protestant, and if you have a problem, I will steer you towards a clergyman to help you, but I do not personally get involved in it. I try to approach things, as Ed knows, as merely the objective third-party viewer, journalist, what have you, and that's why I don't try to get personally involved, except to always caution people to always keep control of their own situation, never to give up their own free will. That's the only thing I do caution people about.
I see. With your interest in the subject, I can imagine you wouldn't want to tell them to go away, would you?
Well, I think
that's not a snide remark.
It's an interesting question. I personally don't see any reason to get rid of ghosts for the most part, unless you're having some kind of a problem. And I think most people, they might, if they are bothered with it, they might appreciate or like the bother because they're the center of attraction to a certain extent.
Certainly is something different.
Right. But there are a few people who are really having any real problems. The vast majority of our calls are usually of incidents that occur rarely, sporadically, or on singular occasions, and are gone then, for the most time. It's only occasionally that someone allows himself to be sort of trapped in a corner by phenomena. Those are people who I caution to take control of their own situation.
That really strikes a chord in me. Do you have any idea at all why these kind of phenomena should happen only sporadically?
Well,
it seems funny that it would be. If it's a person reliving a past event or something, I just wonder.
Well, like any aspect, I look at ghost stories and accounts of ghosts as an observational science, like watching wildlife.
Yeah.
And you can look out your back bedroom window and watch the blue jays or the cardinals or the robins, and they're not going to do the same things every day. I mean, it's an observational thing, and things happen for a while. You have to be at the proper frame of mind, the right place, the right time, and so on to observe things. So I don't think it's unusual at all.
We're not really at a point to decide when they come or not.
Well, we might not notice it. We might not be the right receptivity at that particular point of time.
With you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Bright conversation. 4:30 on WIND Radio in Chicago. 66 degrees, partly sunny, warmer today. High in the mid-80s.
Hello.
Hi, you're on the radio, Gil.
Oh, yes. I'm calling from Fond du Lac.
Okay, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin.
Has your guest ever had any experiences with a wraith?
With a who?
A wraith. W-A-R-I-T-H.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh.
Well, that's an old-fashioned word.
Is it?
You don't hear that much anymore.
Well, we had experience when my grandmother, just prior to my grandmother's death. And a wraith is, what, the ghost of a person that is still alive, right?
Either alive or just
prior
dead.
to death.
Right, usually near the moment of death.
Yes, well, years ago when my grandmother died, my mother and myself, we were the only ones in the bedroom, and the rest of the family was downstairs having supper. And, of course, Grandma was in a coma, but in German, my mother had, it sounded, well, my mother had spoke something in German to the effect that my aunt and uncle were downstairs eating. And later on, I asked my mother, and she said, well, she thought Grandma had asked where my tanda and uncle were. And, well, I didn't hear anything. In fact, I know Grandma herself didn't say anything from her deathbed where my aunt and uncle were. And, but my mother had answered in German that they were downstairs eating supper. And I understand in the family several other times there were instances of the spirit being present and made itself known to certain people in the home or in the hospital. I was just wondering if you had if you had ever heard of had any experiences along that line.
I haven't had anything personally along those lines, but have heard somewhat similar stories to that down here around Chicago.
That's news to me, too. That's interesting. Thank you for calling.
Okay.
Take care. Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Nice to hear from that. That's an old spirit, huh? An old...
Oh, you don't hear the term wraith used much anymore.
I would not know what it meant if you hadn't told me.
Oh, well, I'm up on a lot of it. I try to keep up on all aspects of it.